Hi everyone, and welcome back to another Board No Game video. Today's video is dedicated to Princess Arena. First time here, welcome aboard. At 7,500 subs, we'll be doing a giveaway. Alright, let's jump right into it and talk about these Princess Arena tips. Now the thing is with Princess Arena, I'm pretty sure y'all have seen it, and if you're having a hard time, I understand why, because obviously you have to build 3 different teams, and pretty much the team synergies can get a little bit wonky, but these are some of the teams that I'm using. Now I want us to take a look at pretty much the AI teams. Oh, this one's actually pretty bad and we could have gotten an easy win from this, but let's go ahead and take a look at it. And why I will say it's actually more difficult than it looks, but it's also, this is something to look out for if you're pushing Princess Arena, right? So the first party, this is extremely difficult because they have Miyako, and everyone knows Miyako is an absolute beast, and she is of course a tank. And Akino, she goes well with pretty much anything where she can support a tank. So even though she's 3-star and she's not good right now, she's still good at her current role because she's one of the few 3-stars that just appear in the game. Next thing, this is actually an easy team to take out because they have Hiyori on the front line. If you didn't know, Hiyori is not a tank and neither is Misogi. So whenever you see either of these two in the front position, this is an easy win. You could slap pretty much like, a decent team together. As long as you have at least one tank like Lima right here, it'll absolutely wipe the board against something like this. Now this team in particular is just already much scarier because they have Lima. Lima is a tank, but the thing is, these units right here in the back, they're all, this one in particular, Anna's good at pretty much dealing AoE damage because she's magical and magical never misses, but Rei and Dijita can take advantage of the fact that everyone's clustered into the front, and so can Eriko, and essentially they will wipe your team because more characters will be in the front because that's Lima's ability. So this team is actually a lot harder than it looks because party 1, you probably can't take it down unless you have a magical DPS that can at least make short work of Miyako. If you see a Miyako, I don't think it's even worthy to challenge her because she is so tanky. Unless you have something that can shred her, like a little Mitsuki and then a magical DPS, there's no point in fighting Miyako. She's sort of invincible. It's sad to say that. And then for party 2, no tank, right? No tank, easy win. And then this one, it's full of DPS that can absolutely shred all of your units, right? So that's why you want to completely avoid teams like this. So what does this pretty much tell us with, how to build teams, how to build units, and how to go about, just tackling Princess Arena? So with Princess Arena, one of the things that you first have to pretty much get is tanks. Tanks are pretty much quintessential to any game mode. I'm pretty sure you've seen the recurring theme where tanks are necessary for story mode, PvP, clan battle. They're just everywhere and you need them. If you don't have them, there's some points where technically some units you don't need a tank because your units are so buff, but we're not going to be there for a while. So let's go ahead and talk about this and bring up the sheets. Alright, so you can see right here, this is tank meta. This is probably, you've seen this team float around before. Not these exact units like, pound for pound, but you at least see like Rima and Nozomi, Miyako and Kuka, Peko and Shizuru. These are the ones that are going to stall out your team, and they are the ones that you probably hate because you can't kill them fast enough in order to get into the backline. By the way, this is a team setup. You don't have to use the exact same team, but this is like an example, right? So what I'm about to show you is pretty much like how this essentially all boils down. So when you're trying to take down, Rima and Nozomi, you pretty much can't get to Tamaki, Mitsuki, and Yui, right? So while you're trying to take these out, essentially these 3 in the back will be bombarding your backline or bombarding your units, and it pretty much becomes a stall fight. That is the quintessential thing that you have to know about Arena, and also what's going to make you pretty much different from everyone else in Arena. Because what most people are doing in Arena is they will essentially run more attack units, and the problem is with running more attack units is that it doesn't let you stall long enough for your backline to deal union bursts, to deal actual damage, right? Obviously something like party 3 with like P.Arena and Miyako, you will have an extremely hard time because these 3 in the back, you'll never get to them unless you have someone like Tamaki who can actually hit the backline, right? Because that's what Tamaki is good for, and that's why she's currently like really insane for like PvP, and I would say it's like a must get. So knowing that, if you can at least get your hands on at least 2 of these tanks in the early game, Peko and Rima in particular because they're the most free-to-play friendly ones because they are 1-star. Everyone else is like 2-star or 3-star, right? I'm talking about Shizuru, Nozomi, Miyako, and Kuka. But anyways, Peko and Rima are going to be really easy to get. And these have been, those two in particular have been quintessential for my success in, Princess Arena, right? Here's my first team with Rima, and then my other team, not this one, here's my other team with P.Arena. Now, I recently picked up Miyako thanks to Princess Arena. So if some of y'all are like, oh, I don't have, a Miyako or I don't have a Nozomi, eventually you will be able to collect enough shards to, get Miyako. I believe if you can rank within like, top 1,000, I believe, or at least push up to like the 2,000s to 3,000s, and then you stay there for at least like 2 to 3 weeks, you will be able to get enough Miyako shards because you just need 45 shards in order to unlock her within like the actual character section right here, because that's pretty much how I got Miyako. I did not summon for her. I pretty much got her by collecting enough shards, which was 45 shards in particular, and now I have to collect 100 shards if I want to go to 3-star, right? But that's essentially how you can get a free Miyako and, going through Princess Arena. Now, obviously, it's hard enough getting to like the top 1,000 or top 2,000. Note that my highest rank ever was 1,012. I've never pushed past that, and I was still able to get Miyako after a couple of weeks of trying. And I didn't do more than like 2 or 3 multis for this account, right? And what I have to say is that Princess Connect really awards patient players. By that I mean Lima was not 2-star, right? I pretty much worked my way up, and yes, I went into quests, I went into hard mode, and I farmed shard after shard in hard mode, and it was terrible because it's you get, sometimes you get 1 shard a day, sometimes you get no shards a day. It's really terrible, I understand, but it's one of those things where eventually Lima came home and my teams eventually worked out, right? You can, as long as you have like those 2 tanks within your PvP Princess Arena teams, you'll be much more successful than everyone else who's running Makoto as a frontliner or something, or Kokoro. Now, Kokoro can tank, but pretty much once she does her second skill and then you do your Union Burst, she stays up there, right? That's the Kokoro tank thing. But the thing is that's not effective during PvP when everyone pretty much rushes in right off the bat, and Kokoro can't take right off the bat. It takes her a while before she can generate a Union Burst, before she can actually tank, right? And this is what makes Princess Arena so frustrating, is because not everyone has a tank to build. And I understand not everyone, can just get like a Miyako. Not everyone can just 2-star P.Arena. Not everyone can just 2-star, Rima. The thing is if you want to be more successful in Princess Arena, it honestly just comes down to the tanks. All right, so let's go over my teams, and these are going to be the teams that I used, in my 5,000 brackets, in my early games when I was trying to push Princess Arena, right? So note here, I'm using P.Arena, Eriko, Monica. Now, you don't have to use Monica, you can use someone like Kokoro, and actually Eriko is terrible for PvP, great for clan battle. She'll be much better once she gets her unique equipment, but what I'm trying to digress here is that Eriko shouldn't have been something I built, should have been Mimi, just some other DPS because she's super squishy, and the thing is she pairs terribly with Rima. Note that my carries here are going to be Yuki and Monica. Monica in particular because of that AoE DPS, Yuki in particular for those blinds. You can see here that Yui is blinded, and she can't miss, but it's, if I can land a blind on a physical DPS, it'll pretty much help me out with pushing, right? And note this is my stronger team, where I think this is where I need to focus my resources on. So this next team that's about to come up, I technically use a weaker team. This is a sacrificial team. I know I have to sacrifice this team because Miyako and Rima are on there and I cannot kill them. It will take me a long time. So I pretty much opt out to, surrender. Now the next team, this is something that you need to look out for. Kuka is the main tank. And whenever Kuka is the main tank, you slam more physical DPS. I have Makoto and then Suzuna here. Kokoro is just here, and so is Yukari, just for support wise. But the thing is, in times like this is where, Rima and Makoto can really shine because they can deal physical DPS, and you can almost say this team doesn't have a tank. So note here, the reason why I absolutely slammed this team is because they ran Kuka, and the reason why I slammed the other team was because I had more AoE DPS. That is like the things that you need to look out for when you're pushing Princess Arena, is taking advantage of those AI teams that are technically poorly built, like I referenced at the top of the video, right? Alright, so the reoccurring theme, like always, take advantage of the AI. That is pretty much what's going to be the biggest thing with Princess Arena. It's sort of, you know, having the right units at the right time, but most of it is taking advantage of the fact if the team is just running one tank in particular, not running double tanks. Avoid any AI teams with double tanks. If they have a double tank, don't even bother fighting them, right? So you fight stuff like where it's only one P.Arena, and then you fight teams where it's a Hiyori or Masogi tank, or you fight teams where Kuka is the only tank, right? These are going to be the small tidbits that you can take advantage in order to overwhelm the AI teams. Granted, power and stars, you know, they do have a heavy effect in the fight, but if you can pretty much scale your team where like, hey, I have heavy AoE on this particular team, therefore, even though this team is technically higher star than me, a little bit more power, if I can stall them long enough, then my AoEs will be able to penetrate everything else, and I won't have to worry about facing the entire team and getting bombarded, because you just want to stall long enough for your Union Burst to trigger in order to deal those attacks, right? And note that Kuka is a weakness up until the fact that you get around like rank 1000, 2000, that's where she becomes more of a threat, just because she has higher stars. Usually they back her up with better units, the AI does. So this is it. This is pretty much how Princess Arena works. You just take advantage of those small little things, and you should be able to push up to at least like, you know, around 2000, 3000, collect those shards. Anyways, that's it for today's video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. 7,500 subs will be doing that giveaway. Good luck in your Princess Arena endeavors. I hope you get all the gems that you need, and I will see you in the next one.